Our showers and thunderstorms winding down for now, but I've got another round of big boomers that may move in before the weekend is over. We'll track it with the hour-by-hour forecast coming up.
For hundreds of people in Lexington, the storms knocked out power for hours. We will hear from those who spent much of the day without electricity.
The search for a missing Central Kentucky woman focused on a farm today. What we've learned about some new developments in the case.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening to you. It has been another day of rough weather across the bluegrass. Multiple rounds of storms caused damage and dumped some heavy rain.
It looks like we're about to receive a break from those storms, but it may not last long. We begin, though, our First Alert Weather Team coverage tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey, who's had a long few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little busy back here. And again, that break, as you mentioned, does not have a very long lifespan later tonight and through much of the day on Saturday. But let's talk about the damage from a little earlier. Yesterday at this time, we were showing you a damage map that had a big concentration of wind damage across parts of southern Kentucky. Well, today's cluster decided it wanted to make its way a little farther to the north and impact most of the Interstate 64 corridor. And you look at the Lexington Metro, notice how these individual reports are clustered right on top of Fayette County. Much better news to report late this evening. Good way to start the weekend, at least on a positive note, albeit a short span for a positive note. We're seeing Defender looking a whole lot better. Still a shower or thunderstorm into parts of southeastern Kentucky, Manchester down to Harlan, some locally heavy rains. Heaviest rain right now into Hindman across the Knott County area. Still some raindrops right on top of Cave Run Lake. That extends back, believe it or not, into southern parts of Fayette County. One lone little shower, but the overall view now to our north and west is for some drier air to push into the region as we go through tonight and especially for your Saturday. So your weather headlines with that small break coming up tomorrow. Then the storms crank back up Saturday night into Sunday, guys. I'm tracking the return of the storms and an increasing severe weather and flash flood threat into the extended forecast when I come back in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. And in Lexington, hundreds of people were in the dark for hours because of a storm that moved through around noon.
Trees and power lines fell around the city. Some of them landed on homes. Police shut down part of Leestown Road after utility poles fell across it. And tonight, the cleanup continued in neighborhoods that had damage. Garrett Weimer continues our First Alert Weather Team coverage.
Even as the rain started to fall again, some folks and their furry friends just had to get out of the house after spending hours without power. Crews from Kentucky Utilities had their hands full trying to fix it after these trees proved no match for the heavy rain and strong winds.
I heard a lot of roaring, and I was asleep, and I seen lightning and heard thundering, and I didn't get up to see. My daughter was downtown, and she said it was real bad down there.
The storm knocked out power to several homes here on this side of North Hanover Avenue for hours, and just a couple of houses down, they had their power the entire time and said they're thankful to still have it. On South Hanover Avenue, another tree fell victim to the storm. No surprise, some say, after the battering this region has been through in recent days.
Just a lot of thundering and lightning and a lot of storms.
As the work continued all around, during a brief break in the downpours, Beulah King said she's ready for all this rain to go away.
Too much rain is not good for my tomatoes. I love tomatoes.
In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Kentucky Utilities says at this hour, more than 100 customers in Fayette County still remain without power, and police say Leestown Road has since reopened.
Storms also caused damage west of Lexington this afternoon. At one point in Woodford County, around 1,000 KU customers were without power. Strong winds snapped trees and brought down power lines. And a woman says one of those power lines started a fire near her home.
It just got really dark really fast, and wind was blowing everywhere, and it caught a tree on fire and caught onto the electric cords, and they blew up a couple times and knocked some of the power out.
The police also think that the heavy rain from the storm was a factor in a 3-vehicle crash on Interstate 64. Police say that no one was seriously injured. Around 900 KU customers in Woodford County are still without power tonight. And a storm in Jessamine County also caused damage this afternoon. At least 2 trees fell at Maple Grove Cemetery in Nicholasville. One of them damaged a headstone. A tree also fell near a daycare on Depot Street. One of the workers there says she didn't hear the tree fall, but some of the children did.
There was a couple of them that were kind of scared, and I told them it's just wind, it's just rain, nothing to worry about. And they're like, no, it's a tree.
Emergency managers say that they didn't receive any reports of injuries in Jessamine County because of today's storms. Many of you have been helping us track the storm damage today. We appreciate that with your eyewitness pictures. John shared this picture of a downed tree in Breathitt County. He says it fell on some power lines near a home in the Pan Bowl Branch community. And take a look at this video from Bob. It's showing utility crews working in heavy rain to restore power. Tough work there. We'd like to see your eyewitness pictures and videos as well. Email them to eyewitness@WKYT.com or use the hashtag KYWeather.
New tonight, we are tracking the investigation into a deadly shooting in Knott County. It happened just before 8 tonight along Dry Creek Road in the Topmost community. Police say one man was shot and taken to a hospital in Floyd County, but we have learned that that man has since died. Police say another man later turned himself in. Police have not released any details about what they think led to that shooting. It has now been a week since a Nelson County mother disappeared, but today there were new developments in the search. After obtaining a search warrant, police spent hours searching a Nelson County farm that's owned by a family member of Crystal Rogers' boyfriend. Monique Blair joins us now from the live desk with the latest on the case. Monique?
Well, Amber, 1 week ago today was the last time anyone saw 35-year-old Crystal Rogers. She was with her boyfriend at the home they share. Now, although no suspects have been named in this missing persons case, about a dozen law enforcement officials executed a search warrant today at the farm of Crystal's boyfriend's mother.
Bring her home, you know, just bring her back to us, and we just beg you to.
On Wednesday, Crystal's mom, Sherry Ballard, pleaded for anyone who may know where her daughter is to come forward. But Friday, still no sign of the mother of 5.
And her kids were everything. She wouldn't have just left 5 kids. It's not in her.
On Friday afternoon, the Nelson County Sheriff's Office enlisted a group of deputies along with K-9 units to search Crystal's boyfriend's mom's farm. Deputies didn't say what they were searching for. And just a few miles down the road, a massive search was underway for Crystal. Volunteers and relatives using ATVs, kayaks, and even a horse in an effort to find the young woman.
We're all just pretty much a big family. We come together when we need to come together, and we don't see each other like we should. But when there's something like this happens, it don't matter. You pull together and become a family.
7 days into the exhaustive search, Crystal's family is holding on to one thing: hope.
We don't know what to do, but we're not going to give up.
The department spent several hours tonight on scene at that farm. A Louisville TV station reports detectives were also searching the home Crystal and her boyfriend share. Now, it's important that we note there have not been any suspect named in this case as of yet. At the live desk, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. Rogers' family says they found her car abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway with her phone and purse still inside. The search also continues for a missing Knott County woman who disappeared 2 months ago. On May 7th, family members say Natasha Jones left a note for her 2 sons saying she would be back in a few days, but she hasn't been seen since. State police say they have conducted 1 lie detector test in connection to this case, and they have another one scheduled. Jones's family has issued a reward in the case, but they say it may be increased soon.
I just feel like that if it's more money, somebody might be more willing to talk. Might bring her home or take us to her or whatever. But I think if it's more money, somebody will talk. That's what we're hoping and praying for.
Right now, the reward in the case stands at $2,000.
New tonight, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has released an updated fundraising total for his 2016 presidential bid. Senator Paul says he's raised $7 million so far. It comes less than a week before presidential candidates must file their second quarter numbers with the Federal Election Commission. Senator Paul's team says that much of the money comes from small dollar donors.
The FBI calls it a heartbreaking error. Investigators now say accused South Carolina church shooter Dylan Roof was mistakenly allowed to buy the weapon police say was used in the attack.
The FBI says that Roof went to a South Carolina gun store in April to buy a handgun. During an automatic federal background check, an FBI examiner noticed Roof had been arrested for drug possession. But the FBI says the examiner did not receive an incident report that showed Roof admitted having drugs. That confession should have kept him from buying a gun. But since the report never made it to the examiner, she marked Roof's case as pending. Under the law, if a background check remains unresolved after 3 days, a gun sale can proceed, and that's what happened in this case. The FBI has since ordered a review.
A Lincoln County mother now admits she tried to kill her infant son nearly 2 years ago. Tammy Wolfenberger pled guilty to attempted murder today. Police say in 2013 she used a pillow to try and suffocate her 2-month-old son. In court today, she said depression and an abusive relationship at the time led to her actions. The judge sentenced her to 10 years in prison. Tonight, the former administrator of a Bell County nursing home is facing drug charges. 45-year-old Kelly Gooden used to run the Mountain View Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Pineville, but police say she sold narcotic prescription drugs from the nursing home that were supposed to be destroyed. Gooden faces 12 counts of drug trafficking.
A special tribute tonight to those who lost their lives in the Vietnam War. A candlelight service was held at the American Veterans Traveling Tribute Vietnam Wall, which is at the Kentucky Horse Park through this weekend. The wall is a replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. The traveling wall will be at the Horse Park through Sunday afternoon. There's no cost to see it.
A Lexington church is celebrating an historic milestone this weekend. Members of First African Baptist Church on Price Road are marking the church's 225th anniversary and homecoming. An anniversary banquet was held tonight at the Campbell House. The pastor says his church is resilient.
If you look at 1790 as the year of our origin, and then all the way up to this present time here in 2015, that means the church has seen a lot down throughout the years and weathered some storms just by various issues.
Tomorrow at 1, the church will open its legacy room with historic memorabilia on display, and Sunday morning at 11, the church will hold a special anniversary service. 225 years, pretty incredible.
That is.